Oh, hey there. Hope you're still doing excellent. And if not, hopefully some of these topics we'll be covering today will change that. Although,
hopefully you're not a Leafs fan.
Don't worry, you'll have your day.
Will I?
No, depending on what
For
that
better
day
or
is.
for worse.
Yeah, I was going to say it's dependent on what team you cheer for, but he helped settle that for me. First, we'll be taking a look at each team left and assigning them a grade based on how they've played so far. Then we'll be discussing why the Leafs got an F. But actually, then we'll be discussing the NHL Draft Lottery and why it's probably not rigged, but definitely still funny. And finally, we'll be playing our second favorite game again. Don't think, just tweet. That's where we'll get the chance to chat a little more NHL offseason stuff and mention some of the teams outside of the playoffs. We could really start anywhere team-wise here. We don't have to start with the Leafs. I mean that. Because I know some of our audience would love if we just maybe tuck them somewhere, but they'll get discussed.
We got Christian here, resident Dallas Stars fan.
Exactly.
So
Thank you for joining us.
Start with the.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yes.
It's great to be here.
We're doing exactly what Sam told us not to do, banging on the table.
You're here. That was a miserable listen for everyone else.
Do you want to start with the Stars? We can start with the Stars.
I mean, sure. I'm always down to talk Stars.
Just so you know, Game 4, has not happened yet in our realm, so we are discussing before then.
It's not great for you either.
Well, it's better. It's better. Honestly, like most people, did not watch the Kraken at all until this series.
Yeah.
They're annoying, and I'm a little bit worried the fact that, I give Ottinger that one game per series that he can, have his off game because he's stellar the rest of the time.
Well, it's been kind of 2 games.
But 2 out of the first 3 has me a little worried now because the fact that the Kraken have done this and they're sniping. It's not like dirty goals, goal in the net, and they're getting lucky. They're just walking in and sniping, and it's everybody. Like everyone on this team is doing it. So
Well, good. Was it 7 goals, 7 different players?
Yeah.
It was 5 goals, 5 different
and
players.
you look down. I know we're supposed to talk about the Stars here, and I went on to the Kraken, but that's
the
just
winning team is
Well, yeah. So we're gonna grade the Stars, then we'll get to the Kraken after that.
Yeah.
Okay, Stars for just the second round, C+. If they were up, obviously it'd be higher.
And
But
they dominated that game too.
yeah,
I thought they played really well.
They came back from that 2-goal deficit too in the first game, the 4-2 deficit. But then you wasted a 4-goal performance from Joel Pavelski in his return, so that loses you some marks. The comeback is nice, so that gets you some marks. But the fact that you allowed all those goals, and then again in Game 3 allowed all those goals, the grade keeps slipping. Ben was nice during the season. Goal production hasn't really been scoring at all in the playoffs. Offensively, he's been, setting guys up, but scoring now, Robertson goal production dropped off. So that's a little bit worrisome too right now. I know you know about the goal production drop off being worrisome.
Whoa,
right
Christian from the top row, guns ablazing. I love it.
I think I'm gonna go with a C+ right now for a second round Stars. How they're looking right now,
That seems like a fair grade.
Part of it too is just the Kraken, just so annoying and out of nowhere. So I think I'm gonna go C+ for my Stars personally.
Christian, how are you feeling about Jordan Eberle? I feel like he's weirdly been such a pest in these playoffs. Like obviously what happened with Cogliano, and then of course
I don't know, is that pest territory with Cogliano? You just killed the guy.
No. And then like obviously the one guy who scores the goal that goes off of Heiskanen's face.
Yeah.
It's Eberle.
Yeah, legit.
You just can't make it up.
No, it's true. Like it's literally like even last game. Yeah, just watching. It's like of course it's Eberle every single time. Just a pest. No McCann too. So the fact that the Kraken are just still pumping out goals and that's their leading goal scorer too. I'm pretty sure he was their leading goal scorer.
Yeah. Are you kind of scared again? I mean, obviously you will be to a massive degree, but how big with Heiskanen being is he even ruled out yet? Or
so I don't know what the update for Game 4 is. I mean, Pavelski they kept silent all first round. Like no one knew where he even was until second round started. He was back out on the ice. I hope Heiskanen's ready to go because man, that decor without Heiskanen, it's taking a bit of a hit with slow Ryan Suter and Hakanpää.
Legit everything runs through him too. Offense, defense.
Christian, can you show our listeners
it's a nice
shirt, by the way?
It's a nice shirt. Worthy. There we go.
That is sick.
I just realized both of you are wearing your favorite teams.
Yeah, no, my second favorite team. I had to rock my Columbus tar, but we can get more into that later as to why I'm wearing this one.
Second favorite team, least favorite mascot?
Yes, dude, Stinger. Speaking of going from the top ropes.
What did he do?
I'm pretty sure I said the winner of Vegas and Edmonton is gonna win the cup.
Yeah.
And then Dallas's mascot actually commented like, "Who hurt you?"
Victory Green.
Victory Green.
And then Stinger like completely just shot off at me. And I was like, "Stinger, man, like we're supposed to be
What
boys."
did he say?
He went, who hurt? They went, who hurt you? And then they went, the Jets over and over and over again.
I was like, "Okay, Stinger, like stop acting like the Blue Jackets have been this perfect team for their franchise."
Killing it.
Dumbass.
That is funny.
Yeah, Stinger, you heard me. I got a bone to pick with him when I eventually meet him.
Okay, well, the Kraken. We'll go to you on the Kraken. I don't know how much you've been watching that series, but
Yeah,
I know
I'm watching. But so,
Okay, yeah.
like, are we saying just for the second round?
just for the second round.
I mean, you gotta say A+. I feel like. Like, I mean, like, because again, I doubted them. Everyone doubted them for like the first round series. I think a lot of people did again for the second round series, kind of thinking like, oh, okay, well, probably won't happen again. You know, Dallas is a little deeper than the Avs are right now, and maybe it's too early for an A+. Maybe 2-1. Like, we'll see. Because again, this could go out and it could be 2-2, and like A+ is a little generous. So maybe I'll go A- actually.
Luca pretty much said the exact same thing as yours. Like, I did not watch them a ton during the year, and they were annoying, but in a way where it's like they're just like good,
Yeah,
consistent,
they're good
like,
hockey.
yeah.
Annoying. It's good for Kraken fans. You're probably stoked watching that team. Everyone else is like, get out of here, man! Like, come on.
I will say my girlfriend loves their jerseys though. She wants to see more of them.
Well, I was also gonna say, like, it's so weird. They really did follow the Golden Knights template, but like a year later for some reason. Like, for just like first year didn't work for whatever reason, and then the next year it's like exactly how people felt about the Golden Knights.
I don't think
like
you're
no
getting-
stars,
Yeah.
just full team effort that would just grind people down.
I don't think you're getting Ron Francis's job, by the way.
Nah, we'll see. Unless they completely blow it. But like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Kraken are just a weird team because I'm still just looking at the roster and I'm like, this team's not that good. Like, what's the deal here?
They're
Like,
missing arguably their two best players still. No.
I felt as though like quickly I was able to pick up on how good Vegas was because like it's like okay, like it makes sense. Like a lot of teams just blew it with the players they gave up.
Yeah.
Teams learned a lot from that, losing Vegas. And man, like the Seattle team is not, and no disrespect. If anything, like I'm giving you props, Kraken fans, because your team's playing unbelievably well. But I look at the roster, I'm like, there's not really any star talent, and they're missing their only 40 goal scorer right now, and they're still getting it done.
Yeah.
Burakovsky is who they're missing.
Yeah,
so not
yeah,
like the
true.
second, but yeah.
No,
someone
like a
important.
huge,
Yes,
a
massive.
huge offseason signing for them.
Yeah.
Someone who like won a cup last year too.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. I don't get it.
But you agree with the A.
Yeah, like they. I mean,
He said A+, but I guess.
I mean,
I will say too, like people didn't give the Golden Knights credit early either.
No.
Like they had
Sure.
their whole thing where people just called it the Vegas flu, right? Like people just kept losing in Vegas and they're like, oh, the teams must just be getting hammered all the time.
they
And it
also
was
had Fleury though, who like
Yeah.
just torched us in the conference final. Like, he was incredible. And now Grubauer, who's been like not great all year, comes in and he's just like kind of flying.
Yeah.
The thing is like.
well, it's not like he's not stealing them games in this series
No.
either. Like it's like
But-
5-4.
But,
Yeah,
let me,
legit.
but let me ask you something. Like, if the Stars win that first game, are we still giving the Kraken like an A?
No, but like if the Leafs won Game 3, are we still destroying them?
No. I probably wouldn't give them an F. No. But I will be giving them an F, probably. Let's move on to the Oilers and the Knights, though. And you want to talk about the Knights quite a lot, so I'm going to let you start with them.
Yeah, I think the Golden Knights are going to win the Stanley Cup. Again, I think the winner of that series is going to win the Cup. For the second round alone, I'll probably give Vegas like a B+. Obviously, they showed up really well in 2 games, but one game they didn't, and they kind of got, what was the scoring game 2? They got like destroyed, didn't they?
6-2, 5-2.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? Isn't there
Last
like
one.
a weird amount of blowouts in these playoffs?
Yeah, I got a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like
I don't know, a number
probably
with a road
70% of the
games.
games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Between that series and the Devils one, like right
Yeah.
now, it's just blowout after blowout.
I feel like Vegas right now is the deepest team, and it's going to be interesting because Hill has to come in. I don't know if goaltending has really mattered as much for Vegas. I feel like all their guys have been able to perform like reasonably well this year. I look at their blue line, they're stacked, and like the fact that they're holding Edmonton to 1 goal last night at home, I'll give them the B+ because you know the next game, like would I be surprised if the Oilers came out and just like blew the Golden Knights out? Absolutely not. It's just kind of it's one of those weird series. I could see this one going the distance, but again, At first, I wasn't impressed with Vegas when they were playing the Jets, and then as the series continued, I became more and more impressed. I'm like, okay, there's so many different pieces on this team. So, yeah, they're my favorite to win the cup. But as far as round 2 goes, I'll give them a B+.
B+. Okay. All right. Now how about the Oilers then? We'll swing it right back onto you there, Christian. Because another one where it's like they dominated in game 2, and then there's 2 games they clearly did not show up to.
Probably before game 3, I would have given them probably a B+, because just going into Vegas like that and just like playing physical and you know, F around and find out. I don't know. Yeah, the blowing of the kiss was just hilarious.
Just for that.
Yeah. So like that alone, I'm like, okay, mad points to the Oilers, and just giving them the body shots there when he's on the ground, like that was a
ref
different...
just watching by.
Yeah.
The ref was just like, is this bad? I better write it down.
Yeah, every teammate too, just like, oh, they're still going. Like, just let them do their thing. So before game 3, B+. After game 3, I'd say B- only because I don't want to go into the C territory, because like Jesse said, I can literally see them come out next game and win 6-1, and then it just goes back and forth right to 7 with these two teams.
Draisaitl scores 7 goals, breaks the record.
8-7 loss.
Yeah.
There was a couple close ones even in game 3 where he could have scored and he just missed by a little bit.
Yeah.
What a bum.
Like the Oilers team, I always just thought, like, before this year, I was never like serious about them. I always found them a bit unserious outside McDavid, Draisaitl, but now I think this is a team that could win the cup. I know Jesse's saying someone coming out of this series is going to win the cup, and I know he likes Vegas, but I think the Oilers, the way the whole script has gone this year with McDavid and Draisaitl, and I think I'm giving them the B-.
What do you do if you're the Oilers? Do you stick with Skinner, or do you just say, like, give the crease to Campbell and kind of hope for better results? Because what is that, 2 out of 3 games now that Skinner's just been blown out?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's... You're like, as much like I agree, like it's been like this interesting year with McDavid and Draisaitl, but at the same time there are still flaws on this Oilers team. And I'm not saying every team has to be perfect, but like they have some glaring weaknesses, and like I think goaltending is very I would be very concerned right now if I was an Oilers fan.
Yeah, it's a huge weakness.
What is that?
To be worried about.
What are they? How many goals did they give them in the first game? 6.
They gave 6, and then they gave up 5 in game 3.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What do you guys do? Do you stick with Skinner, or do you go with Campbell?
I mean, like,
I'm guessing they stick with Skinner, because like even the last time that we talked about this, remember when like Campbell came in and stole the game for them, like we were like, oh, maybe you make the switch now, and they stuck with Skinner. So I think they got their guy.
And
they
like
stuck with Skinner, but he hasn't been good since they stuck with him.
He played well in game 2, but it's like I get what you're saying, where it's like you literally went in for Campbell for this moment, you'd think.
Yeah.
At the very least, to have someone, it's like if something's not working with whatever option, I have someone to jump to. Be a little odd, but gut feeling, if we all had to say it, like, who do you think starts actually then? Because I mean, you are now predicting this is going up on the day of the game.
I think Skinner will start. I personally would start Campbell.
I think Skinner starts.
Yeah.
I think he will get the call, but I would personally start Campbell.
This guy's passing over Ron Francis's job and going for Jay Woodcroft.
Coming for AJ.
How hard is it to coach McDavid and Draisaitl?
Yeah, seriously, not hard. Can you guys in Woodcroft? Like, do you think he's so sick? Like, you're the best, Woodcroft. You're the best, man. Like, real tough job, buddy.
I didn't know that animosity existed under there.
Start Campbell. Start Sue. He's the nicest guy.
At least half of his resume has been filled out already. Okay, let's go on to the Devils and the Hurricanes. Corwin, you can start with the Devils. And again, game 4 has not happened yet.
We know they'll win game 4. That's part of the script, and so I think a B. I think like you know they've played well. I mean, sometimes like the Hurricanes are a good team. The one thing I will say, just not super exciting hockey in this series in terms of like the Hurricanes can just really suffocate a game. So like
that last game was pretty exciting, man. 12 goals.
Yes,
I was gonna say, like, they didn't suffocate much in that.
Yeah,
the first 2 games.
I meant the
in
first
Carolina.
2 games. Yeah. But obviously that one was just a bizarre game where like it was so weird. There were so many goals, but it never felt like Carolina was gonna win. It was just kind of like, like New Jersey's still a mile ahead.
An odd blowout, an 8-4.
Yeah, very weird. But I don't know. I'll give them a B. I just like they've been okay, and obviously down 2-1 in the series, but you have a little bit of faith in them because they did the exact same thing in the last one.
Was that what you were hoping? And this is not a shot. This is an actual question, and it's been made already many times, but like the way they respond in Game 3 being a young team, is that not what you would have hoped for? I mean, like, a similar enough profile.
No, see, I was actually hoping that the Leafs would come out, just lay an absolute egg. Their stars would be ghosts, and then we could try to make history.
Okay, I figured. All right, next team, Canes.
Okay, I just want to start off by saying I'm like extremely impressed with the Carolina Hurricanes. Sorry, one thing I wanted to add about New Jersey too. I think they also have huge concerns in the crease.
Yeah.
Like Vanacek came in last game and like, yeah, he was able to get them the win. Still gave up 4 goals, even if some of them were probably like late and like the game was out of reach. Schmid is clear. Like I think we were talking about, there was a stat in like 5 games. In 5 games he had 2 shutouts and was chased in the other 3.
Name a goalie you know what you're getting from in
this playoffs right now.
It's true.
I would have said Ottinger before the last 2 games, and now I don't know.
But like,
Guy's not winning his matchup.
No.
But the concerning thing about the Devils is that like they maybe not as much anymore, but like they're in a stage where like they didn't know which goalie they're going to start. And I think if you have that kind of issue in the playoffs, then it's like really not good. Carolina is a great team. They're not going to be giving up, and they also had some interest. Like they had to make decisions in between the pipes too, but it seems like they're comfortable with Anderson.
Pulled, right?
Yeah, he got pulled last game. I think it's very rare though to see Carolina give up 8 goals. That was just like a bit of a weird one. Like in New Jersey coming home, they've been so good at home. I'm gonna give Carolina a B+. I'm really impressed with Carolina. I think that like they're a very well managed team. Like if you look at how the fact that they've lost so many key players.
Yeah, we got to
This
give
is
them
an
some
entire-
credit.
We gotta give him some
Entire
credit
top
for sure,
line,
man. Look at
basically.
look at Seth Jarvis. Like
Yeah.
he's been unreal in the
been
playoffs
huge.
for them. He's been amazing.
Yeah.
And like immediately steps in. They're missing Svechnikov. They're missing some big key guys. And the fact that they're like even still here, and I think they're still going to win the series. I actually said that I think they're going to go to the Cup against Vegas. B+ so far in the series because last game was a weird one, but I do think that they're going to find a way to win this one.
And also to answer your question, which I can't believe we all didn't land on it, Bobrovsky for now. That's the one. Yeah, winning his matchup. In fact, let's use that to slide in to the Florida Panthers, where let's start with them because like they also deserve their credit as much as the Leafs are certainly going to get theirs in the second half of this. But no, right? Like you have to give it to them, whether or not they were the better team in the first 2 games, or they definitely were in the third one. But like they've played well. Like they deserve their credit. No.
A+ if they get the sweep.
Yeah.
When they get the sweep.
Christian's out here from the top rope again.
2 goals against per game, like holding all the big guys off
Yeah.
the score sheet. It's got to be an A.
Yeah.
Almost A+.
If I'm a Florida Panthers fan, I'm over the moon. I
Yes.
don't really care about how they've played or whatever. So I agree that you're going to give them that, but like they definitely haven't been like dominant. It definitely feels more like some of the faults of the Leafs have just shown up. But of course, I mean, hey, you're an 8th seed and you're going to come in there and be 3-0 up in the second round. I mean, how can you go anything other than A, right?
Okay. Well, we'll slide then right to the Leafs. And Corwin, have at it.
Okay, well, I'll give it a D-,
Doesn't want to give the F.
No.
That's fine.
Like I said, there's room to make history, okay? And nobody does it quite like the Leafs, and nothing would be more
What is
fitting.
it in this game? Please define it.
It hurts people.
Okay. Undefeated in that.
Yeah, and then but also like gives glimmers of hope, So like, because
Was there one in the last game?
no, but like
After you win a first round series,
Well,
No,
and-
the last
and actually-
that for sure, but the third game, I mean, as far as the series.
And I would say third game, like despite obviously people are like just trashing Matthews and Marner, and I thought Nylander was great, by the way. People kind of like just have
They
glossed
lumped
over
him.
that.
Well, he
because-
gets lumped in.
he
with
has
goals.
looked good.
Yeah, I thought Nylander
agree.
Yeah.
has looked incredible. So like, well, incredible is probably a little.
He's looked
No
better
one-
than the
no one
rest.
gets-
Yeah,
He's looked fast. He's creating offense.
So the one thing that I really love about Nylander that I don't know why it's been something that's frustrated me with Matthews for a bit lately is that like Matthews just doesn't really carry the puck in anymore, and like there's a lot of opportunities, especially like you look at the Reinhart goal where he catches the puck, he's at a full stop, so he's not coming in with speed, but he turns around, makes a move, is able to enter the zone on his own, then kind of like make more of a controlled wrap around the boards rather than a lot of the Leafs play they're a highly skilled team, but they do so much dump and chase. And like one of the only guys on the team that doesn't really do that is Nylander, who he just will carry the puck every chance he gets. And same thing.
My boy Nick Ehlers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it was funny because there are such similar players drafted right next to each other, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't think that should be a surprise that guys like Morgan Riley and William Nylander have really looked pretty good throughout the playoffs. I know there was like a little bit that people were ragging on Nylander for. I think that was more just Tampa being good. But when they come back and they win in 7, it's just gonna feel so good. So I can't really give them an F, but they're making me feel like a D- right
now. We know that you have to have the optimism. It's something we love about you. But like, what do you genuinely believe is gonna happen in this series?
I mean, like, if I really had to lay my chips on the table, like, I would have to be Leafs in 7.
I hate this guy.
Why do I feel more nervous being down 2-1 to the Kraken and he does down 3-0 to the Panthers?
Yeah.
Because it's all based on nonsense, Christian. You don't want what he said. Okay? How about you? Well, you can give a rating. You know what? Everyone can give a rating for
He
this
did
series.
not get what he wanted
I
out
did
of
not
this.
know. The audience must get what they came for.
No.
You don't even have to give them an F, but like, yeah, what would you guys give them?
Probably D-.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say an F because I don't think that they've necessarily been the worst team each game. Like, they're still playing. Players on their team are playing hard. But, I like, one thing I want to ask, I got to ask Corwin.
Break his shell.
Are we blowing it up?
Well, yeah, that's what we talk about, right? We say, like, do we run it back? And, like, every year you explain why you think, like, the Leafs should run it back. And I totally makes sense. They've got some great players in that core. But it just seems like at this point, if they get swept, something's got to give.
May I augment part of your question there only because it's like if they get swept, I feel like we know your answer here. Is there any amount of games they could win that would make you change your mind from even like where it's like you're not going to change almost anything? Other than the series win. Yeah.
You'd have to get to 7. Because in my mind, I feel like you guys can back me on this. That I don't know if I've really like come out hard on it on a pod or anything before, but like I'm not a big Sheldon Keefe fan.
Man, I can't stand Sheldon Keefe. I see him
How many jobs does this guy want?
I see him do his stupid goddamn pressers. Be a little harder on your players sometimes, and like shut up and just go win some games, man.
I don't feel like that.
I
think Sheldon Keefe. I think he does a good job with the media, and he seems like a decent enough guy. And like I don't dislike him in that way. It's more for him. I don't love his system. It's kind of the stuff that I'm talking about that I don't think it emphasizes skill. And it's weird because he's been so successful with the Leafs in the regular season that it's like, okay, well, how can you be that critical of it? Is because I think this team is even better than they've been with this. I think this should be a President's Trophy winning team. I think this should be.
You want that one, huh?
I do want the President's Trophy. I know people knock that,
kidding.
but like as a
kidding.
big soccer fan too, like trophies, you know. I'll take some trophies. We won our division once in the last 30 years. We like people talk about banners. We don't have anything we could hang. The Western Conference champions would be like a pretty sweet banner to hang for the Leafs because
Eastern.
I was saying
You're making fun of the
Preds.
Preds.
The Preds.
The San Jose Sharks have every accomplishment they've ever done in their practice rink on banners.
It's
We want to
bizarre.
talk about banners? Forget Nashville. People don't even know. San Jose. Well done.
They're missing. They might be missing one though. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're missing the big one.
Yeah.
And we made sure to point that out. And we can maybe save this for another podcast, but I do feel like I need to ask if the Leafs do make moves this year.
Like if I had to make a trade? Like I know everybody's down on the players, but you're probably going to be frustrated by this, but I come back to the same thing is that if you want to trade one of these guys, you got to do it at a different time. You got to stop coming back to this thing where at the end of the year you got to blow it up. Yeah, it's like because middle of the season, if you really wanted to trade Mitch Marner, you could have got an unbelievable amount for him. And he's having one of the best years ever but I don't know if Mitch Marner has looked like an entirely different player than he has the last couple of years. It's not like he has had a great year and he's been pretty electric all
But in
year.
the playoffs, though.
No, but I don't even necessarily mean in the playoffs. I just mean like he's been great, but he's been pretty similar for the past couple of years with the Leafs. It's not like
If you had to get rid of one of them. I mean, we're going to say not Tavares because it's like that'd be hard at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
is
that,
there
like,
one you
it's-
choose or you just keep them both? Because you can say that too. Matthews or Marner, would you get rid of either of them?
No. The one thing this changes in my mind is I'm a lot harder in contract talks. If Austin Matthews wants to come in and demand the $15 million or whatever nonsense that people are throwing around for what he might get with the Leafs, that's an absolute joke. And then if that is the case, if there's just a pure stalemate on contract talks, I think then you have the conversation, and it's less about that I believe that they need to move him on to win or something, and more just, I think, planning for your future.
Someone tweeted, like, they looked at the Leafs defense and then they said, like, are we actually expecting the Leafs to win with the defense that they have right now, like with the 6 guys who they're starting each game?
That's so revisionist, though. Like, they've been a great defensive team all year, and I know defense is also like a team thing, and they have some great defensive forwards, but like their D has been very solid all year. It's like a big stigma with the Leafs about always having terrible D, but like I feel like they've actually had good D. I mean, Justin Hull is the one guy.
Man, well, however, I'll help you move on from this one. Draft lottery.
The only thing I want to say about that one is that like they take out Timothy Liljegren, and I love Timothy Liljegren.
But I think it's Lil Yugren.
I
meant to say this 2 weeks ago, but I didn't have the courage until right now.
Liljegren?
I believe that's what it is. That's what they put on the Sports Center scripts.
He makes passes that no other Leafs D-man can make, and then they take him out of the lineup every week. It's to bring in Justin Hall, who I understand if you're saying like, oh, he's way more defensively solid, but then he made like one of the worst turnovers I've ever seen in the last game, and it's like he does both of the things bad. So why is it, and I understand it's like, oh, because he blocks shots on the penalty kill or something. Like, come on, just enough with that.
We were looking at The Office yesterday. It's hilarious how out of position he was on the Duclair breakaway goal.
It was like between two thoughts. It was like it didn't make sense.
He was literally in no man's land. And I don't want to be too hard on
Justin. From a guy that loves Justin Hall, not his play, but as a person.
He's an absolute beauty, and I don't like harping on him because he's such a nice guy. But like, man, he just looked like he was like. I don't even know. He looked like he was on Mars. Like,
all right, well, we're moving on to the draft lottery. Of course, a lot of the drama of that was that they had revealed that Columbus had dropped down to 3 before they actually revealed that, leading people to call it rigged. It's not rigged. But how do you guys feel?
I mean, you can't say that for sure.
Yeah, sure. I can't say that for sure. I'm just going to say I don't think it's rigged. But
maybe magnets.
Either way, Chicago wins. Yay for them. And there's a lot of obvious reasons why people weren't happy about it. But some people, they were fine with it. How do you guys feel about Chicago ending up with Connor Bedard?
Most hockey fans probably kind of feel 2 different ways about it. On one hand, if there's one organization that didn't deserve him for multiple reasons, because they've
covered up sexual assault.
They've been just scummy, just pure scum. They covered up sexual assault, which was awful. And if you combine that with the fact that they've also had like these glory years where they had these amazing players, it's like, okay, it sucks that Chicago got them. But then you look at it from another side. Chicago's a huge city, probably for a young athlete to go and become a star. It's a great city to go to. The United Center is great. The fans are fantastic. And like, it's almost like right as you're closing one chapter with Kane and Taves, you're beginning a new one, which is cool for a very storied franchise. So personally, I'm torn, like most hockey fans are. While I think that there's, them as an organization should be, it's disgraceful, the things that they've done. As far as the fans and the city go, it's a great place for Bedard to grow.
I don't even think you have to be torn in saying it that way as well, because you said like you could still feel that one way where it's like hell no, do you deserve to have something like a gift of this? But there's a reality, and of course, as you said, there are fans involved in that situation as well that do not represent the organization. Mm-hmm. So it can be complicated without having a definitive answer on it.
Very complicated.
I feel like there's been a lot of fandom testing throughout this year of all the different teams that are like not wearing pride jerseys or whatever, and like it's something that we're all probably just going to experience more and more of, like having to sometimes reconcile with the fact that you root for a team that maybe doesn't have the same values as you, and I'm sure that's been tough for. I'm sure there are some great Chicago Blackhawks fans out there. Yeah, I'm yet to meet one.
I don't think we meet. I feel like we don't meet a lot of Blackhawks fans.
I know some great ones. They've got great fans. I was actually
Jaden's one actually. Yeah. Sorry, our new intern.
Is he? Yeah, I thought he was a Penguins fan.
No, Blackhawks.
He's a Blackhawks fan.
I was at a Blackhawks game in November.
He's a good guy.
And I was at a Blackhawks game in November, and the team, literally terrible team. And the fans were they showed up. They yelled the national anthem.
The Madhouse, man.
The Madhouse. It was, and they love hockey there. They love hockey in Chicago. So I think I'm really excited for the city, but holy smokes, that organization has done some pretty awful.
And the thing that it comes down to is mostly that people are like, why did they even have a pick? Because there's so many different things that people had first round draft picks taken from them in that year, and like this didn't hit the bar for the NHL, which is crazy. It's interesting. They're gonna be bad for a bit. I don't know, like Connor Bedard will play in the NHL next year, which is cool, but like I don't think he's gonna change their franchise too much immediately. So
Except for the ticket sales part of it, which people also pointed out. And that brings us to Don't Think, Just Tweet. And Christian, we're gonna have you start off. Here's your prompt. Connor Bedard will score blank amount of goals in his rookie season.
don't think.
21.
That's a low number.
That's
Because he plays for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Wow, okay.
Dude,
Okay.
Wyatt Johnson scored 24 this year.
Yeah, but he played on the Dallas Stars with actual players there. I could not name you more than 2 players on the Chicago Blackhawks.
He's a stud, though.
And then just Chicago, like that's what bums me out too, is that he has no one to play with. Unless they change their whole offseason plan and get him some players to play with. That's why I'm going with 21. What did I say, 21? I'm sticking with like 21, 22.
Okay, wait, but I have a bone to pick with this segment because we talked about this last time. You gotta make your tweet like a tweet.
Connor Bedard.
Because
So-
you would never just tweet the number 21.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
would probably retweet someone who said Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
You're an absolute coward.
So Christian,
My
can I
pages all
write?
retweet.
Can I compose your tweet for you then? Connor Bedard is scoring 21 goals next year. That's what you're going with?
Why? I feel like that's a wrong number now though, because the way everyone looked
sounds
at me
low.
when I said that.
It's a low number
That's
though.
low. Like, how many goals did Lafreniere score in his rookie year?
Way
May-
less.
Probably
not
less.
21.
Connor Bedard will score 27 goals this year.
That sounds like more accurate, but I still think I'm going above 30.
I don't trust his line mates. I don't even know who his line mates are going to be.
Yeah, it's also fair. All right, Corwin, you're up next with Bedard. The Blackhawks will make the playoffs in what year?
The Blackhawks will make the playoffs in 4 years.
They're in for it. It's a ride.
They're a pretty disastrous franchise in terms of like what they currently have for their NHL.
They gave a
roster.
lot. They gave a lot of like even people who again with DeBrincat, as we've already mentioned, would have certainly helped with that gap.
But they
So-
now have 2 things working in their favor. One, they just
for the playoffs. Remember,
What?
not just as a franchise. Like
Yeah.
Do you
but
agree or
I'm
disagree?
talking
with,
about like right now where they are as a franchise, but that could change quickly because 1, they just landed the best prospect in hockey, and
Yeah.
2, they're Chicago, which is a great city to live in and a place where people want
how
to
many
go.
how many years do you think then?
I don't think it's that. I think like maybe 2026 is probably when they make it.
Okay, Jesse, here's yours. The team that got hosed the most in the draft lottery was
The Columbus Blue Jackets deserved Connor Bedard more than anyone and got hosed. / check out the video where we ranked Old Hockey 6 together. Here's a link to the video. Check it out. It's a fun video. We have to wear masks though because of COVID.
I love it. Shameless plug.
Masks might have been harder on Jesse more than anyone. I've never seen someone struggle so hard to keep this thing on. Where like, cause he'll talk and like I'm not. This isn't a shot or anything.
Well,
but-
just say like on a big nose.
No, I was actually gonna say big mouth, but because well, no, I just meant because like your mouth is coming down a lot, and it always like kind of moves
know.
the mask around. So
The
you're always,
the
like,
COVID explains
struggling to keep it
the
on.
mask, but what explains the shoes situation?
My shoes or him not wearing shoes.
He was just
Him with the
barefoot.
dogs out.
Man, dogs were just out. I was like, hey, like we're gonna do something with him. He walks in
And he's
bare
like,
feet.
whatever. Yeah.
Bare feet is like. Also, gotta say, very very nice. He was
seems
very very nice when I met him. Very down to earth, and he's low key pretty hilarious.
Yeah,
He's a funny
I
kid.
think he's gonna be
Yeah.
one of the best things to happen to hockey.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like so chill. He's got like that BC chill vibe to him, and no,
Real
he was,
granola boy.
yeah, he was just very nice. He was just like, and you even see him after he wins the World Juniors, like you can even see like the way he said it. It was so genuine. He said, guys, like really, like I just don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about the team.
yeah.
And like you see some people say that, and it's just like, oh, like they're just being like modest or whatever. But with him, it's just like you felt it. Like that's
Yeah.
real.
Wasn't expecting Tyler Mott to be his favorite player either, though.
Big Canucks fan.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite player growing up from the Canucks?
It's tough to go wrong with the Sedins. My favorite player now is probably Mott. Tyler Mott.
Hell yeah.
Oh, he's so good.
But look, Anaheim's going. They already have these young star players. They're going to continue to attract good players to that team. In my opinion, I think it's a lot harder for Columbus. They've never really had that true franchise guy who they've drafted. They had Rick Nash, but Nash isn't a Bedard. Like,
No.
who are we kidding? And Anaheim has had so many good years. It's also Anaheim. It's. Life's pretty good over there. I'm not saying it's not in Columbus, but it's kind of colder weather. The fans are fantastic in Columbus. They had it, and not only did they not get the first pick, they dropped. So they don't get Fantilli either. And sure, Leo Carlson is a great player. He's big. Got to watch him at the World Juniors last year. Very skilled. Think he could thrive on a line with Goudreau and Laine in a couple years. I think Fantilli is an unbelievable consolation prize after Bedard, and the fact that Anaheim still gets him to join to that young core.
One of the weird things that I feel like is a bizarre thing for players that most of the time what you're looking at nowadays is skating, right? Is like the number one thing that is what you're really looking for a player, and it's weird that that's not really what Bedard's number one thing is, and it's not like he stands out from that, but Fantilli's probably the best skater in the draft.
I was reminded, by the way, that piece.
I think I was starting to be able to raise the puck a bit when, you shoot on one hand. I think it made it a little stronger.
His wrist, breaking, and him saying that, because he was practicing with one hand, he learned to be better. Would you break your wrist right now if you were promised a better shot? If I just, right here, break your own wrist.
Break the wrist, walk away.
Okay, it's just that simple.
I did break my wrist, and I felt like my shot got worse. And now it does.
I know.
And now it does.
Mine
this.
clicks. Same.
Yeah.
All right, Christian, you're up next. What's been the nicest goal of the playoffs so far?
I'm not even gonna go with prettiest snipe or anything. It was the goal, the Devils' shorthanded goal McLeod scored. The 2 games ago or whatever. Just the whole from the draw to the defenseman pinching and pushing it up, to playing it off the boards old school style, to the quick little hesitation. He got lucky with the little slide in goal there, but just that whole shorthanded just watching that play all come out, I thought was pretty solid. I wouldn't say it's the nicest goal of the playoffs. I just watched that and was like, that's a playoff goal right there.
The one I've easily watched the most and shown to the most people, Pavelski's bunt.
Oh yeah,
It was just so satisfying. And again, I don't think it actually is the best, but it's definitely the one I've watched.
The tips,
most.
When you messaged me too, being like, man, we were literally talking the day before, our group at work, saying how he literally ages like a fine wine, and then Z messaged me the next day. It's like, man, there's a fine wine with those tips.
It also looks like Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
But didn't McDavid also score a nicer shorthanded
That's
goal?
the one I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Quote tweet.
Yeah, quote tweet.
You could
Okay,
put
great.
Drysdale in there too, by the way, with
Now,
the flip behind.
now my
so.
notifications are blowing up because Jesse quote retweeted me.
Well, no, but I think really the nicest goal. Who went through the legs again and just roofed it? Wasn't it? Oh, Pasternak.
Yeah.
That was a
okay.
ridiculous
That's
goal.
why when I answered, I wasn't saying it wasn't the
Almost
nicest
Sam
snipe or anything. I
Yeah,
just the whole way it played
You know
out.
what,
I was
audience,
like, damn.
you win. You got to see all of them.
If Sam Bennett scored that goal, it would have been.
Oh, that'd have been and also because it was the Kachuk. That was such a great pass too.
Yeah. Oh, it was beautiful.
From Ryan O'Reilly.
That too.
Second assist.
Second assist.
Yeah.
Hockey assist. All right, Corwin, this one's for you. If both Matthews and Marner hit the open market today, what deal would each player be worth?
Okay, Matthews, I'm still fine with it better be an 8-year deal because lock him in this time, and I'd give him $13 million a year for 8 years. Marner, I would probably pretty much re-up. Yeah, I'd say 10.5 if you really if you need to, because I do believe that sometimes we get way too picky over $500K. It's oh my god, so what? I feel like I've said this before. It's what the difference between Andre Kasha and Pierre Engvall or something. We'll figure it out. It'll be
can
fine.
help,
but
yeah,
so so maybe I'll go the high end and I'll go 11 mil 8 years.
Would you give both of those players contracts, or are you just saying with other teams? What would you do? Would you sign both of them to those deals?
Yeah.
The final one, Jesse, and again, you guys can chime in a little bit after him, but this is off the back of the Rangers firing Gallant.
No questions about the Jets, eh?
Technically, this is your question about the Jets, if you choose to take it this way. Outside of the Leafs, Which team has the most interesting offseason ahead of them?
He's already answered this one.
So much chatter about what the Jets offseason is going to look like. What the hell is going to happen with the Leafs if they get swept on Wednesday? That's exactly what I tweeted yesterday.
Yes, I remember that.
So I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with the Jets. I think that the Jets and Leafs are like actually kind of in like somewhat not that far off situations from one another. I think that the Winnipeg Jets are such a complex franchise, way more than people think on surface level. I think that a huge way in which their run probably has to do with like up top and ownership. I think Cheveldayoff's probably I don't know, but like look, you have a franchise releasing a statement saying we basically need you to come to games because we're losing money. Like that's how everyone interpreted it. But then everyone knows that like a rebuild should happen. But how do you rebuild when like you need to get people in the seats? No one wants to watch a rebuild. It's just like a weird thing where like you have to have a foot in but also a foot out at the same time, and just that's kind of just been the Jets. Like we've always been like kind of just like staying competitive. If I'm Cheveldayoff though, and I know that this might be my last year, I'm going all in. I'm literally doing whatever I possibly can. Burn it.
Well, that's the one thing I will say though, is that like I don't know if you guys looked at this year's free agency, but it's by my measure probably the worst free agent year.
Patrick
I've ever
Kane,
seen.
Jonathan Taves, Ryan O'Reilly, Vladimir Tarasenko, James Van Riemsdyk, John Klingberg, Max Pacioretty, Sean Monahan, Lucic, Okposo.
Now go to the next year and read off the names if you don't mind.
that's-
Because it is insane the players that are in this free agency class.
The next one.
The next one.
What the hell?
2024.
Brother, hold on. Austin Matthews, Anze Kopitar, Steven Stamkos, Sebastian Aho, Jacob Voracek, Blake Wheeler, Willie Nylander, Brent Seabrook, Sam Reinhart, Matthew Murray, and Hellebuck, Scheifele, Gunsel, Hannafin, Brody. Like that, it keeps going. David Perron.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He could change the face of a
Get
franchise.
him on the Jets right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll be a Blackhawk.
But also,
Yeah, I just heard like 4 Blackhawks, future Blackhawks.
Yeah.
in that list.
They're loading up.
call me nuts, because I kind of want to go
You're nuts.
back to Matthews. Do you think that like
We weren't even talking about
no, to go back to him, like, is it almost because I've been hearing some Leafs fans saying that like they are fine to move on from Matthews, which I find to be like kind of nuts.
He's had a tough year, honestly. He
He
hasn't
has.
looked as electric as he did in the past couple of years. It's weird. I don't want to say this, but like you'd almost hope, based on how he looked, that there was some kind of injury or something, because he just hasn't looked as dangerous. Honestly.
He missed some games this year too, right? He missed some time during the regular season.
Okay, we already talked about how quickly Connor Bedard could change fortunes, and it's like, okay, well, the Blackhawks certainly don't need to go in on free agency next year, but like, how much would the 2024 free agency potentially help them then? Because it's like, how much would you gear towards potentially signing there? Like, of all the names I just listed out there, how many of them realistically do you think they would have a shot at there?
Like Chicago's a great city. I feel like that's a place where Matthews would be totally comfortable playing. He'd still be somewhat young. Like, can you imagine building around Bedard and Matthews?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's out of the question either. They have tons of cap space. Holy smokes.
It was just, again, it was impromptu, but as we were reading that list and as you were connecting the dot from what you said, like, that's like an all-time free agency list where it's like, and that's 2 years away where
I will say hockey is the most notorious for like
half these names might not be here.
they won't be there. Anze Kopitar will resign. Steven Stamkos will resign. Like Steven Stamkos just recently said, "I never want to wear another jersey in my
Except for
career."
the Blackhawks.
Okay. but also, like, an issue with this list is that look at how old a lot of these players are. Like, I don't know if a lot of these players are going to necessarily want to go to Chicago. I mean, playing with Bedard would be amazing, but they're not there yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Really,
Like,
but there's no way even like because like Carolina with Aho,
they'll sign.
They're gonna
Aho.
have to.
They'll sign Aho.
Yeah.
Maybe a guy like Gensel, Crosby and
Yeah.
Malkin coming to an end.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want to rebuild in Pittsburgh.
And you have the opportunity to play with Bedard.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, out of this list, like, I didn't even think that like this opens the door for Matthews to potentially go to Chicago.
Oh god, a new narrative just started.
That seems like a good place to end. And you know what? Thanks for joining us on this journey that was this show. You know what you can do to help us out? You can like the video. If you've enjoyed it, if you have somehow gotten to the end of this one, congratulations. We don't have a medal for you, but we have a thank you for you.
Just like and subscribe, please.
Leafs in 7.